Alexis was, bar none, the most electric person that walked into any room. She was extraordinarily beautiful, extremely smart, but at the same time, so humble. And I don't even think she realized the superpowers that she possessed and her ability to make everyone around her better and happier. Postpartum depression was, I don't even know that it's a term I'd ever really even heard or given any thought to. I vaguely remember when she first became pregnant, somebody saying, hey, you better watch out for those baby blues. And I think that's probably the term that I was more familiar with. You know, Alexis wasn't the girl that this happens to. We weren't the couple that this happens to. And we just had this fairy tale pregnancy. She never got sick. It was like seamless. It was perfect. And it was extra hard after Adriana came because everything else up till that point was so easy. And so then what's called a code blue delivery occurs. And basically the code blue delivery, that means either mom or the baby's life's in danger. And I remember, like most moms, it's like they're overlooked. But at the time, all eyes were on our daughter because she's the one whose life was at risk. And I remember trying to talk to the doctors, and I looked at her from across the room, and she was laying in bed, and she's like looking my way. Something changed. And her eyes were like glassed over, and it was almost like there was nothing behind them. And I don't think she ever recovered from it. It was like she was a shell of a person from that day forward. She never slept. All she did was cry. She really believed that our daughter had brain damage and it was her fault. And so she tortured herself. And she said, I think we should give Adriana up for adoption. We'll find a great home for her. We'll find the most loving parents, and everything will go back to normal. That was when I was like, man, we have a really big problem here. Bigger than I could have ever imagined. It just started like this 2.5 week spiral that it was hard to imagine someone could get that sick that quick. And to see someone that was always so together fall so apart, and every day just worse than the previous, and just anti-anxiety medication, sleeping pills, nothing worked. And this is, weeks, maybe a month after our daughter was born. She lost 50 pounds in 5.5 weeks from the day she delivered. When you hear about a suicide person, everyone always says, that wasn't Alexis, or that wasn't Carol, or that was, no one knew that person was capable of doing that thing. She looked at me and she said, nobody cares about people like me. Nobody's gonna help me. And she said, I'm gonna kill myself just like I just said it, really clear and really succinct. And it's so disgusting. And so shameful. For me to be here today, the ball was dropped so many times, it is sickening. Her last doctor's appointment was an appointment where she was advised by the LCSW. She had been Googling things, and she thought that she would be a candidate for estrogen patches that would, help her rebound and get her life back. And the doctor just said, you're not a candidate for that. And, at the end of the appointment, she just said, listen, you're not cut out for this. Just go on birth control. I don't think it's smart for you to have any more children. And I believe that in that very moment, she had resigned, and she knew that it was going to be over soon. making strides and we're moving in the right direction. There's facilities across the United States today that there were none 10 years ago. There's new medicines, there's new technologies. People are starting to get it. And so, that's really my hope with all of this, is that, this is a big step to push the needle further. It feels good to be a part of the change.